Calling Dr. Red Flag. Please report to the front desk. The doctor is ready to see you now.
Dr. Red Flag here with another message on how we learn and grow together and pay attention to the red flags. Today's topic is the validation seeker, when nothing you give is ever enough. This is a great topic because there are millions and billions of people who are no longer with us that have experienced this, and people who are experiencing this today. There are people who seem to need constant reassurance. You encourage them, uplift them, you remind them of their self-worth, you talk to them and talk them through their doubts. You sit with them in their sadness, you help them when they are hard on themselves, and for a moment it helps, but then it starts again. I'm not good enough. Do you think I did okay? Be honest, am I messing this up? Are you sure you care about me? It becomes a pattern, a cycle where no matter how much you pour into them, it never seems to hold. From a psychological perspective, this behavior is often rooted in low self-esteem and insecure attachment, particularly anxious attachment. Individuals with anxious attachment often fear rejection, abandonment, or not being enough, so they seek constant reassurance to feel safe. There can also be elements of emotional dependency, where a person relies heavily on others to regulate their emotions, and sense of self-worth. Instead of having internal validation, they depend on external resources. In some cases, this pattern is connected to childhood emotional neglect, where validation, encouragement, or stability was inconsistent or absent. So as adults, they seek from others what they did not consistently receive early on. There may also be traits of reassurance-seeking behavior, often seen in anxiety-related patterns. This is where the person repeatedly asks for confirmation to reduce internal distress, but the relief is temporary, which is why the cycle continues. At first, this dynamic can feel like closeness. It can feel like you are needed, like you are helping, like you are supporting someone through their struggles. But over time, it becomes draining because the responsibility begins to shift. You are no longer a partner, friend, or a companion. You become their emotional regulator, their source of confidence, stability, and source of reassurance, and that is not sustainable. This is where the emotional and mental exhaustion begins. You may feel like you are constantly on call, constantly lifting them up, constantly managing their emotions, and in the process, your own needs may start to disappear. This dynamic can also lead to codependency, where one person overfunctions, giving, fixing, supporting, while the other underfunctions, receiving, relying, and depending. So how do you recognize the red flags? They constantly ask reassurance even after being reassured. They're overly critical of themselves and rely on you to counter it. They struggle to self-soothe and manage their emotions independently. They frequently doubt your feelings toward them. They require consistent emotional attention to feel stable. They become anxious or distressed when you are not immediately available. They rely on you to make them feel confident or secure. They repeat the same insecurities without taking steps to address them. Another key sign is how you feel. You feel drained after interactions. You feel responsible for their emotional state. You feel like you cannot step away without them unraveling. You feel like no matter how much you give, it is never enough. This is important because support in a relationship should not come at the cost of your own well-being. It is also important to understand this. Encouraging someone is healthy. Supporting someone is healthy. But being the sole source of someone's self-worth is not. People who struggle with validation often need to develop internal validation. the ability to recognize their own worth without constant external confirmation. This requires self-awareness and personal work, and sometimes it requires professional support. So, because no matter how much you give, you cannot fill a space that someone has not learned to fill for themselves. So what do? You set boundaries. You offer support without taking full responsibility. You allow space for them to develop their own coping mechanisms. And if the pattern continues without change, you evaluate the impact on you, because staying in a dynamic that consistently drains you is not sustainable. Sometimes the real red flag, is not that they need support, it is that they need it in a way that consumes you. Dr. Red Flag signing out. Don't forget the message, and notice and pay attention to the red flag.